Muawiyah comes along, a guy that I wouldn't give the most menial job in the municipality to, suddenly becomes the leader of the entire Muslim nation, while Amirul Mu'mineen is there. How do you even compare the two? قاسوك أبا حسن بسواك وهل بالطود يقاس الذر أنا ساووك بمن ناووك وهل ساووا نعلي قنبر. How do they compare someone like Ali ibn Abi Talib to an animal like this? And yet he gets the upper hand, and then he creates the most sophisticated propaganda machine that had been built in all of human history to churn out quotes and traditions in his favor. I'll give you one example which might shock all of you. In the book of Muslim, there is a chapter with the following title. Honestly, it's so sad, it's hysterically funny. The chapter's title is this: Babu man la'anahu Rasulullah aw sabbahu aw da'a alayh. The chapter of those that Rasulullah has cursed or prayed against, invoked God's wrath upon that person, وَهُوَ لَا يَسْتَحِقُّ ذَلِكَ, even though this person doesn't deserve to be cursed by Rasulullah. So Rasulullah would curse someone, but that person doesn't deserve it. فَتَكُونُ لَهُ رَحْمَةً وَرِفْعَةً. When the Prophet does this to someone, the curses of Rasulullah are transformed into prayers for him. And Allah compensates this person by elevating his rank and raising his position. I mean, hot is cold, up is down, left is right. Anything goes in this fantastical fairy tale of a world. Rasulullah curses someone. Number one, that person doesn't deserve it. How could the Prophet curse someone when they don't deserve it? وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Isn't this in the Quran, or is this from another Sahih? Then, when Rasulullah curses someone, how could that person all of a sudden gain notoriety and status because the Prophet cursed him? So, if you think that's funny enough, the hadith that's mentioned in that chapter is rather famous. Rasulullah once sent somebody, a messenger, to go and call Muawiyah. Muawiyah is being summoned by the Holy Prophet. Muawiyah says to the messenger of Rasulullah that I'm too busy eating. Imagine the Prophet calls you. Imagine your mother, your aunt, your boss calls you, but you're like, no. I'm not even trying to come up with a justifiable, rational excuse. Like, I'm too busy eating. I'm sorry, I don't care what the Prophet says. The Prophet sends after him again. No, I'm too busy eating. The third time the messenger comes back, so Rasulullah curses him. لا أشبع الله له بطنه. May he never be satisfied from eating. Which is why they say that up until the end of his miserable life, Muawiyah would eat and eat and eat until his jaws didn't have the strength to keep on chewing the food, and his stomach would get so big that the belly would fall sideways. The Prophet's prayer. Suddenly, this incident, which exposes Muawiyah for who he was, number one, someone who has absolute disregard to the orders of Rasulullah. And number two, someone who was cursed by the Prophet. They've placed this hadith under that chapter heading. In other words, Muawiyah didn't deserve to be cursed, and the fact that Rasulullah cursed him undeservedly means that Muawiyah's station and status will only elevate in the eyes of Allah. You see what I'm talking about? It's comical, but the test was difficult. And there might have been people who were too naive, too stupid, too gullible to actually digest all of this garbage. And there are up until this day.